Welcome to the UNSECURITY Podcast. Each week, Evan and Brad give an inside look at current information security news, breaches, best practices, and other things you should know to improve your information security. Here are your hosts, FRSecure's Evan Francine and Brad Nye.
Hello, UNSECURITY Podcast listeners. This is Evan Francine. This is episode 50 of the UNSECURITY Podcast. 50 episodes.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that was Brad. Brad, say hi.
Hi, I'm here.
And what is it? It's October 21st.
Yeah.
2019. So
crazy. It's been a year since almost a year. So
we were talking a little bit before the podcast and just talking about how busy, we all get.
Yep.
Fourth quarter for us and, as information and security consulting people is always crazy.
Yes.
But I think just security people in general, right? We're always busy. Everybody I talk to, I'll tell you, in today's podcast about, the Roadshow, what we've been doing, what we did this last week. But one of the things I ask people, just in talking is, hey, how are things going? And always busy. I'm like, oh, are you short-staffed? Almost always.
Yeah.
Yes, we're short-staffed. So you're busy. I'm busy. So busy where things just won't get done. There's just certain things that I won't get to.
Like show notes that I missed last week and you covered for, and then this week, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he just gets so busy. So I figured, we're winging it today. We're winging it on the podcast. We're going to talk about, what I'd like to talk about is I'd like to give, some shout outs maybe for, last week was FRSecure and Security Studios quarterly kind of get together. We brought everybody in. I can talk about the Roadshow, what we did. We learn things every time we go out. It's super cool. I'd also like to talk about what you've been working on. You mentioned a new tool that you just started kind of playing with for the IR team. So we can talk about that too. But let's start off with, how you doing?
I don't know. Good.
Well, you were in here early today.
I was. I had the same thing that happened to you last week. I woke up at like 4:30 and was just like, all right, I'm ready to go. So I laid in bed for, like a half hour, like, all right, am I good to go? Nope. All right, time to go. So I just came in. I was here like 5:30.
Yeah.
Well,
here you are.
I got not a lack of, like you said, not a lack of things to do.
No.
So, but no,
we should do maybe a podcast where we talk about, prioritization techniques, maybe, organization techniques. Because I have an admin who, even with my admin, I'm inundated. I mean, I'm missing things. There's things that I'm just not getting to.
Yeah, it gets to feel a little overwhelming at times, but I think we've talked about it, right? You can only do one thing at a time. What's the right order to put things in?
Right.
And if somebody requests something else, say, okay, where on the list? You want these 50 things done. Where do you want to add this one in? Because I can only get to them as I get to them.
Right.
I think once you get kind of come to that realization and are a little bit at peace with it and just work hard and keep moving forward, it's freeing, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
I won't lie. I hate looking at my inbox knowing the amount of unread. But honestly, I look through most of them. I do see them come in. I just don't. If I don't need to do anything with it, I move on.
Yeah, right? I sort of get tired of telling people my apologies for the delayed response. I mean, I should just make that an email response template. Every email is just going to have my apologies for the delayed response, or I don't know. Maybe some of our listeners have a better opening to not sound apologetic, because you really can't. You shouldn't apologize because it's like, I'm just really busy.
I read something about, like, I'll have to see if I can find it. How do you make yourself feel a little bit better? Like things you shouldn't apologize for, and you shouldn't apologize for being busy.
Sully, and I'm sorry. I apologize that I look like this.
No, but I fall into that a lot, right? It's like, hey, sorry, this took me a week to get back to you, or took 3 days, or, and so what?
Yeah, I suppose.
It doesn't really, just get the information back. And
yeah, I'm going to try really hard, I think, this week to not apologize for delayed responses, because I have emails from, really important emails from Monday of last week that I just saw this morning when I came in. I got up at too early. I got up at like 3. I was in the office by 4, and I'm trying to catch up. And I noticed emails. I'm like, oh, son of a gun. That was an email that I really wanted to respond to on like Monday.
Right.
Whatever.
I will say I've noticed that unless there is something to actually apologize for. Hey, sorry, I forgot this last time, or something like that. Nobody has really pushed back, or I haven't heard any.
So I shouldn't say sorry for looking like this?
I mean,
sort of, maybe. Sorry
if you really want to.
Sorry for sounding like this, smelling like this. Maybe. I don't know.
Nah. But
all right. So we had a good week last week. Super busy. We started Monday off with once a quarter. We fly everybody in from all over the country. We have people in Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, Nevada, Florida,
North Carolina.
Okay.
I think that's it.
And they all fly in here, and we meet up to go over what we accomplished last quarter. We call out, some really cool things. We tell people where we're at, financially. We try to be as transparent as possible, and then get everybody kind of juiced up for, the next quarter. I thought the meeting went really, really well. I think it was one of our best ones. Renee Rudder, our chief operating officer, I think just knocks it out of the park with the way she kind of keeps everybody on task.
She's so good at wrangling us.
Right.
It's like wrangling cats.
I'm glad she feels comfortable doing that, right? Because even John Harmon, president, myself, she'll tell me what she thinks, which I love.
Which is great. Yeah.
So it was good. It was a good meeting. We had another good quarter. Third quarter is always a challenge because third quarter has July in it. And July is always just
July
funky.
and August. Yeah. Because everyone's going on vacation, and then both those months, right? It's school's out, so nobody's around.
Yeah, in July, you lose essentially an entire week because, especially when July 4th lands in the middle of the week, that week's pretty much dead.
Right.
In terms of delivery, in terms of meetings, in terms of sales.
Yeah, customers don't want to do things during the holidays.
Right.
Which is really crazy when you think of Q4. You lose 2 or 3 weeks due to the holidays, depending on how it falls. And it's still traditionally, 37 to 37-ish%.
Yeah, it's the biggest quarter.
Of our work comes in Q4, and it's got the fewest number of weeks in it.
Yeah, it's always the busiest. So it's, it's really important to kind of go through because we also drive ourselves really hard here. So everybody sets really ambitious goals, and sometimes it's hard. It's just hard to reach those goals, and you need to get together and sort of recoup and recharge. It was cool because they stay. Most of those guys, don't they all stay for the entire week too?
For the most part, a couple people had to leave due to other obligations, but for the most part,
family or something.
Yeah, okay. I know, weird. But no, for the most part, they were here all week, which is great to see them all.
Right.
It does change the dynamic a little bit just because you socialize more, right? Because you don't see them. We do events after work. There's a trivia night and then a team outing, and so it's
barbecue.
Yeah, we did a rib cook-off. I got cheated. Peter.
Oh, yeah. So Peter Vingy, if you know who Peter Vingy is, he used to be HR here, but now what is his director of operations or director of something?
Something.
He directs something.
He does something.
Okay.
Peter, I always want to say, Peter, what would you say you do here? Because I get asked that all the time, so I figure I got to turn it around.
Steal his stapler.
Right.
All right. So that was a good week.
Yeah.
We survived.
It was tough. We were talking about it before. A lot of business type stuff last week for me, for the senior management team. And it was funny on Friday. One of the salespeople goes, "What were you guys doing?" And I was like, strategic planning, Q4 2020 staffing and all the things to make the business run. Mm-hmm. And they're like, looks like you guys come out of there just drugged through the ringer and exhausted. I'm like, yeah, it's not what security is easy for me. Like, I get that. This is a very different way of thinking, and it definitely grinds you down a little bit, but it's fun because it is very different.
So a security guy learning businessy.
I know.
That's what happened to me, man. And I still don't.
Great.
I know, right? This is what,
but I get where
your future looks like.
I get where you're coming from, though. It's good, though. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's fantastic, but it's just, it's exhausting.
Well, it's a good segue because, I'll talk about the Roadshow a little bit now. I'm a security guy that found himself somehow a business guy.
Yep.
Right. And then I guess, I don't know, I enjoy torture. So then I'm a business guy times 2. Right. And then it's like, and then I don't know. It's just weird. But we were in Chicago, John Harmon and I, this was week 3 of the Security Studio Roadshow, #S2 Roadshow on Twitter. Yeah. Do you tweet? You tweet.
I do.
Not very often.
I more read than other, but
it's kind of cool to follow. I think some of the things we're learning, every time I talk to, so you learn things from everybody. You learn security things from people who are just starting out in the industry. You learn business things from people who are just starting their first, security business.
Right.
So I think sometimes we have a tendency to sort of discount what maybe new people are talking about in security. Like, new person. Right. They always have something, though. Their questions always, evoke some sort of thoughts.
Yeah, they're coming from a very different kind of background.
Yeah, exactly. And so we go on the Security Studio Roadshow, and the point of the whole roadshow, right? Because I think some people might still be confused about what we're actually doing. We're going out and we're meeting people. We're understanding their business, and then we're helping them grow, essentially. Helping them grow their business. So their information security consulting business or their information security product business or whatever. But we want you to do it the right way.
Right.
Right. So we don't want you selling snake oil. We don't want you, consulting on some super proprietary thing that everybody should know. Right. So we took our products. We took S2 Org. We took S2 Score. We took S2 Vendor, S2 Me, S2 Team, right? All these products, and we put them on a platform, and we're getting people to use them, right? So rather than you doing your own proprietary information security assessment with spreadsheets and whatever else you're doing, why don't you get on a platform with 20 other partners who are using the same thing so that we're speaking the same language so that customers aren't confused, and we're focusing on the fundamental security things that everybody should have.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what we do. On the roadshow this week, we were in Chicago. I can't use the word. I call Chicago a different name, but I'm not going to use that.
I'm guessing I can.
Yeah. I also have one for Detroit. And I also have one for Philadelphia.
Philly and Pittsburgh, for me.
Yeah. But we were in Chicago. Yeah, we were in Chicago, and we were in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, there's always stories for me. I always have stories.
Yeah.
Weird, just dumb stories. So while we're on the road show, we also do barbecue reviews. Mm-hmm. So while you guys were having this competition here with barbecue, John and I were out eating barbecue, some good, some not so good. But we started in Chicago, and we were there. We were invited by HSBC, the big bank people. Every year they do this week, or actually not week. They do something for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And this week was cybersecurity in our personal lives, cybersecurity on the move. So what we did was we took the S2 Me, which is free, always going to be free.
Right.
And we sent it to their employees and then had them do their own assessments, their own personal information security assessments. And then we arranged them in an S2 team.
Right.
meaning that all we see is the averages. And
the aggregated,
results.
anonymized.
Yeah, we don't know who answered what. So we went to their Arlington Heights headquarters in, right outside of Chicago, and gave this talk, and then they piped it all over the world. They telecast.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. And so we went through this talk, and I shared my slides, online and everything afterwards, so that anybody who wants to steal them, use them, whatever, as long as you're fixing the broken industry and not making it your own little niche thing that you're not going to share with anybody. The talk went awesome. We had the CISO was in the room, and we have a follow-up meeting, to talk more.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that was where we started on Tuesday last week. So the things that we discussed were limitations in traditional training and awareness programs, motivating people by making information security personal. We talked about if security won't motivate you, meaning, you've become breach numb or breach fatigue.
Yeah.
If that's got you, maybe privacy will resonate with you and motivate you. If privacy won't, God, I hope safety will. You know what I mean? Where your kids are being, there's just all kinds of stuff there. But we talked about that. And then we talked about getting, for those who hadn't taken the free S2Me assessment, to go do it. Mm-hmm. And then and then have your wife do it.
Right.
And then have your neighbor do it, right? And have these conversations with people that you're not having today. It's not my problem. Well, it is. But my security at your home is not my responsibility.
Yeah.
But it affects me.
Right.
Right? Because your crappy security, there's all kinds of things that could potentially be used by an attacker with your crappy security, right? They could turn you into a bot, and now you're going to attack me or DDoS something.
Right.
You lose your financial information. Well, yeah, that's great that you get all your money back, but the bank isn't in business to lose money. So they're going to raise rates
somewhere.
For others. You know what I mean? There's just all kinds of different ways, and it may seem insignificant, but attackers are hitting people en masse. Mm-hmm. So I'm paying more.
Right.
Because of your crappy security. And I'm looking at you. I'm not saying you, Brad, because, I know you actually have a really good security at home. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, first the limitations in traditional training and awareness programs.
It's funny because we actually got an email on Friday from someone saying exactly that. Like, hey, yeah, the pre-can stuff is what it is, but it's not super effective. People don't really pay attention. What do you guys, can you help us? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, we can.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, right? In training and awareness programs, I'm telling you how to protect me. How do you protect my assets and our customers instead of how do you protect you?
Right. Well, and that's kind of our whole approach is protecting personal and corporate, right? Mm-hmm. Or organizational or whatever you want to say. But it's been that way for the couple of years, 3 years plus that I've been here. Bad security at home, bad hygiene at home, bad hygiene at work from a security standpoint. It just is the reality. So how do we personalize it for people to have it resonate,
right,
and stick,
right?
So we've got training and we'll go on site, but the S2Me and team really is going to take that to the next level, and be able to really truly personalize it for organizations to say, okay, yeah, we know these are the kind of things we need to talk about, but we know that people are struggling with this. Let's add and give them the tools to do better.
Absolutely. So I think, and you hit on it, right? People are creatures of habit, and as I'm giving this talk, it's funny because there's always this head nodding, right? I don't think I say too many things that are just outrageous. I do occasionally, and then you get that look in their eyes like, did you just say that? I didn't get any of that in this talk, but yeah, people understand that. People are creatures of habit. They understand that the same habits I have at home are the same habits I'm bringing into the workplace, and vice versa. People want to do the right thing. They just don't know how to do the right thing
Yep.
in many cases. And the one thing that I'm looking forward to, and I still don't have, anywhere near enough of it, or us as a team or as a company, is just feedback.
Right.
I mean, the S2Me is free, but I know that it's also version 1.
Right.
So it's not going to be, ooh, wow, it asked the perfect questions in just the right way.
Yeah, version 1 is version 1. It is what it is, but
right.
So the feedback that I've gotten from non-security people that have done it was really positive, and that, I never would have thought of this stuff. I was going to go buy a dishwasher and realized like how hard it was to find one that wasn't going to talk to the internet, and I didn't.
So now LG's going to be pissed at us. Nah, whatever.
It's not just, it's all of them have, but yeah, it's pretty funny that, I think it's being well received. I know the people that I've talked to and, talked about Teams and what that does and all that are really receptive and going, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Like now I know where are the weaknesses. How can I get my employees to a better place?
Well, that's good. Yeah. Because we need to, just continue, keep our eye on the ball, right? Mm-hmm. So I know version 2 is already being, in the works. I'm excited for like somehow to tie in, kind of an S2 teen piece.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned that also, and people, their eyes perked up, and then, because they want to know what their kids are doing.
Right.
And if their kids are safe. Right. I mean, there's nobody, that's like one of my most important jobs in this world is to keep my children safe.
Right.
So we'll see how the S2 teen comes about.
And how do you communicate with them and have them not roll their eyes and tune you out? Right.
And so, and that's a good point. I mean, the way I talk to my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, about, her devices is, you talk to them about it. And it's not that I don't, come with a heavy fist and crash down, let's talk about healthy behaviors. Because it's
honest
my job.
And communicate.
It's my job to love you. It's my job to make sure you have a healthy environment to grow up in. And, so it's interesting. But I think the feedback was great.
Good.
Yeah. And then what did we do after that? Oh, we met a partner in Chicago, a company called FRSecure, SPECTOR.
Okay.
Look them up. And all this stuff, too, will be recapped in my week 3 Security Roadshow recap on evanfrancine.com. So if you ever want to see this stuff. Because I also included the slides, link to the slides on that recap. But yeah, FRSecure, 2 guys that, I don't know if they have any other employees, but 2 guys that are trying to start their own security consulting company. They're trying to start off as pen testers, a pen testing company. If you're going to start your own consulting company, it's the same thing that happens in a larger consulting company. It's just harder.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always said it takes 3 things to get a new customer, right? And these aren't earth-shattering.
No.
They have to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be credible, and they have to like you.
Yep.
These guys were both likable guys. Zach and Kevin were their names. Right. Super likable. In my mind, they're both trustworthy, and they're both credible. If I, as a security person.
Okay.
But their credibility is going to be hard to establish in the marketplace because it's so crowded.
Right.
There are so many companies that do penetration testing that are well known, that can cite, here's our 100 customers, of, our 100 Fortune 500 customers. And it's not an easy place to put your flag.
But I think there is room because you're seeing some of the bigger, we get a lot of customers that came from those that were customers of the bigger ones that were just like, we had one where they had done a multi-year engagement and we found stuff in year 1 that they hadn't found in like 2 or 3 years.
Right. Right.
It's like, yeah, because
and that's
when you automate scripts and that's all you do, it's not truly a test.
Well, in every pen test, it doesn't necessarily mean either that the previous pen tester wasn't any good.
No.
Right. Pen tests have scope. Pen
Right.
tests rely on skills of the pen tester, right?
Right.
Different perspectives. Because we'll often find, in our own pen testing that we'll find something and the customer will ask, well, why didn't our previous pen tester find it?
Right.
And rather than say, well, your previous pen tester sucked, it's more like, well, your previous pen tester was looking at these other things.
Yeah. What was their methodology? What were they looking for?
Because if you have somebody that comes in behind us, next year, they're probably going to find something that we didn't find this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's that's
well,
okay.
and I think it depends on, this is pretty glaring.
Oh yeah. If it's obvious.
Yeah.
If it's like the front door is open and I didn't notice.
Yeah. It was, I think it was pretty bad. But
LDAP was open to the internet. Yeah. Geez, we missed that one. Sorry. Yeah.
But either way.
Well, anyway, so Spectre Security, I think, I think there's an opportunity for them to broaden a little bit with some of our tools on Security Studio, at least to put pen testing into context, right? Because pen tests, a lot of times people will ask for pen tests and they don't even know what the hell a pen test is.
We got a pen test and it was a vulnerability scan.
Exactly,
that's very common.
It's super common, and so if Spectre is going to go after this SMB, probably a little less sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking for a pen test because they read it somewhere or heard it somewhere or a regulator told them they had to do it. Even then, right, vulnerability scan. If you haven't done a vulnerability scan first, then why are you wasting your time with a pen test? You don't even know what you have. So start with the basics and then build up from there. And then when it's time to do a pen test, what sort of pen test do you want?
Right.
There's not just a canned pen test, right?
Right.
I mean, you've got different tiers of pen testing. You've got different scopes. You've got different skill levels, all sorts of different things in pen testing. And then, and then you get to the red teaming, blue teaming sort of thing.
Kind of ongoing, continuous.
Yeah. So it was just a great conversation with those guys. I'm hoping that we keep the relationship going. I really want to see them succeed. They do a lot of government work too.
Okay.
They're both law enforcement.
Okay.
Which, they did let me leave. I guess they didn't find my warrants.
Statute of limitations is up. You're good.
I think so. Does statute of limitations still apply if I'm still doing it?
I have no idea. I don't want to know. Plausible deniability.
Yeah, I don't know either. All right. So that was Chicago. Chicago was great. We had some good barbecue. I'll get to the barbecue stuff in a minute. Then we went down to Dallas. We flew down to Dallas on Wednesday. Dallas is cool, man. I like Dallas. There's some good people there. John is originally from Dallas, so that helped. My wife and daughter flew down from Minnesota to meet me in Dallas, which makes life so much better.
Oh yeah. With all the travel you've been doing.
With my family
3 weeks,
there. Yeah, just coming back to the hotel and like, hey, makes life amazing. And then we were participating in the ISC Squared Cyber Aware Dallas conference, which was on Friday, and I was the keynote, which was cool.
Very cool.
I didn't really even know that I was I kind of did. Somebody said I was, but sometimes people use that keynote word and they didn't really mean it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your keynote. Well, but why am I in this room over here? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I didn't really put much stock in it. I'm like, well, it's going to be the same talk, whether it's a keynote in front of 1,000 people or if it's a breakout with 30.
You're going
to get the same version of me.
Yeah. So it's great.
Yeah. So I wasn't really sure what that meant, but that was okay. And then, we had some more barbecue down there too. But the IAC Squared Cyber Aware Dallas conference was cool. It's Dallas Fort Worth, that chapter. They go to the University of Texas at Dallas.
Okay.
One of their big halls, and they put on a conference every year. And I think they do it every October.
Okay.
Well attended. Davidson, Gundy. Am I making noises? Is my beard making noises again?
I think you're good.
Okay. Sometimes my beard rubs against the microphone.
I think it's the wind screen or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
So that happens when you have such a long, beautiful beard. My wife, side note, Moroccan oil. She had to put that in my beard, and I've sort of liked it.
Help tame it a little bit?
Yeah, because I was using the other beard oil, but then what happens is my beard is so long now that it rubs on my shirt.
Oh.
So then I get oil spots on my shirt, and I'm like, son of a gun. So I can't do that anymore unless I
That's funny.
comb it out or something. I don't know. Yeah, well, I've got another 4 years of dealing with this.
You're going to have a bib before long.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? It's my beard bib.
My beard bib. Ooh, that might be no.
Patented.
I'm going to stick with
Claimed.
security. All right, so the conference was Friday the 18th. We went down Wednesday. Thursday, we had some meetings. We met a company called Vitech Consulting. Pretty good consulting company, I think relatively new and refocused. They had a different sort of focus before on security, and I think now they're probably on the right path a little bit more. But it was cool just to talk to them, right? And it's another small consulting company, and it's like, well, let's help you grow.
Right.
And then the conference on Friday, again, I made look for the recap on my blog, and you'll find a link to the slides there too. Like I said, take them, steal them. I mean, that's how we all get better, right? We steal shamelessly from each other. At least steal the good. Assuming there's some good stuff in there, steal the good stuff.
Right. And don't reinvent the wheel.
Right. So the talk was awesome. Met a bunch of great people. Met a guy from a whole college. I don't know what they call that. Like a college. What do you call it when a group of colleges gets together? Is that an association? No.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What do you call that? Well, anyway, it's like 4 or 5 colleges or
coalition or something.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a listener, let us know what that's called. But he's, overworked. He had a security team of basically just him a few years ago. Now they've got 8.
Wow.
They should probably have 80, but whatever. That's, making progress. He came up afterwards, and he's a longtime security person. So, when you have those wise security people, you sort of listen a little bit more.
It's all I think it's hit or miss. It's either they're like
nutty,
or so like stuck in their ways and refuse, and like, this is how it is,
right. If it's not command line, it's
right. Or you get the ones that are
still arguing the Linux Windows,
or the ones that, like you. We're still learning.
Am I stuck in my ways?
No.
Okay,
I'm saying you're the opposite. You're not the stuck in the way.
And we're friends enough, right?
Oh, I would tell you.
Good. Kick me under the table. But we had a great discussion, and, I think he's going to use the S2 score, the S2 org, in his own organization. He asked a great question during the keynote. There were some questions. I always like to leave about 10 minutes, towards the end for questions, and then they can, somebody run down the aisle with a microphone, and, you can hear what they have. He had a great question during the keynote or in that time. But then, he became such an advocate for us at the rest of the conference. He kept bringing people to our booth.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He was like, hey, I got somebody else for you guys to talk to, which is really neat because it was, like I said, he was kind of an old timer, but he's not, probably not excited about much really in security anymore. Yeah, seen enough, kind of jaded a little bit, but it was neat to see him sort of excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was really, really cool. And then there was another guy down there who had participated in our CISSP mentor program. And prior to my talk, I was just kind of walking around, just saying hi to people and asking them about, their business and whatever. And he was at this, Yada something, YOTTA. Crap, I can't remember the whole name of the company. But anyway, he was at this booth, and I just kind of introduced myself, and I don't even know if I say my name when I introduced him. Just like, hey, how you doing? Whatever.
Right.
And then it was time to go give the keynote, and I gave the keynote, and then afterwards he came up to me. He's like, I didn't know that you were this guy. And I'm like, well, I have a beard now, and probably look a little different. But he's like, oh my God, and so he's so thankful that, for the CISSP mentor program, thankful to you, thankful to me, the company. So that made my whole day right there. I mean, if there wasn't anything else to that day, that was just great. And it was just kind of weird running into somebody in Dallas on the mentor program. So that's good. And for all the listeners, it'll be starting up again in April. Hopefully we'll recruit some more people so you and I they don't have to listen and do us for, how many weeks is it? 7? 4?
No, it's remember. Yes.
It is 7 weeks.
7 weeks. 8. Well, I think we went to 8, but we have 3 breaks built in.
Right. And we had a barbecue.
And a barbecue.
At the end.
But yeah, I get asked that all the time.
All right.
Hey, when's it starting? So April. Just wait.
Yeah. So if you want to get on that list, really everybody's invited. The only ones that we restrict are the ones who come here in person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the Minnesota area, there'll be a limited number of people that can come here in person. Because
although more now this year.
True. We have a bigger space now. But for the people who want to attend online, there's no limit. We did have a limit last year. We hit
550 or something,
and I think we hit it. But then there's always attrition to the rest of the class. But so April, reach out to the show. Reach out to Brad, me.
Yeah. Go to it is on the website FRSecure.
Under resources.
Right? I think it's resources and CISSP mentor.
Okay,
there'll be information there. That's where you can, as soon as marketing pins us down,
right?
We'll put dates out there.
So that was cool. And then then there was somebody from Dallas who had who works at a Fortune 500 company. He's a security, like a senior security analyst kind of person.
Okay.
He's kind of tired of the corporate thing and wants to start his own consulting business, but he's got kids and, he's like nervous and, all these things. I'm like, well, I can share with you the things I learned. I mean, when we started FRSecure, there was I actually lost my house, right? Because we didn't have customers.
Right.
And it was around that housing crisis time, which was a great time to start a business, 2008. But, I said, let's talk, let's collaborate. You can use the cool thing about our platform too, about the Security Studio platform, is it's free.
All right.
So if you go talk to customers, you can walk them through an assessment for free.
Right.
Right. So there's no cost. And if you can answer yes, no questions about simple, basic, fundamental security things, well, then awesome.
You're going to have a pretty good idea of where you stand.
Right. So that was, it was cool to talk to him. It brought back memories. Spent some time with JP Hill III. He's the president of the ISC Dallas Fort Worth chapter.
Oh, cool.
That guy's cool. Yeah, he is. He put together the conference. I think he was the lead anyway. High energy all over not all over the place, but just physically all over the place. Probably because he was trying to run the conference. But he invited us to come down for 4 more.
Oh, very cool.
Meetings down in Dallas. So we'll be going there. It doesn't have to be Security Studio either. So FRSecure folks, I'm sure, because he sees the value, I think, in the partnership. What else did we do? Oh, we had a couple of partner meetings that were remote that week or last week. North Carolina, a company out there, and then a company in the UK.
Oh, wow.
We already have a company in Africa.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So the partner network is growing, I think, for companies that do information security consulting. I think now is sort of the time. I mean, I'm not selling you anything, but I think you do want to, you probably don't want to miss out. So now, would be the time.
This is kind of that, what is it? We're past the earlier, what is it? The initial.
Yeah. We're starting to get more and more adoption.
Like the mainstream adoption of security, not just driven by regulatory or compliance requirements.
Right.
We're starting to see people actually want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is cool. Because if you're competitive too, everybody, you kind of want your S2 score. You're like, where do I rate?
Yep.
So that was good. Barbecue reviews. Chicago, we went to Blackwood Barbecue. Gave it an overall rating of 7.5, which is kind of, it's pretty good. Big Ed's, overall rating of 8.25. If you're in Waukesha, I think it's Waukesha. Waukegan. There's a lot of walk things over there. Waukegan, Big Ed's is the place to go. It was really good.
That's good.
Owned by a bunch of, owned by a family. It's a family. Son was chopping meat. Mom was at the register. Dad was probably had cooked the meat.
Right.
We went to Smoke Barbecue in Chicago. SMOQUE. Somebody told us that was, because we've been getting a lot of recommendations too.
Right.
Somebody told us that was the best barbecue in Chicago.
No, not impressed.
Well, I don't know. Best is relative. And we have different views. I didn't rate it very good. 6.75. Oh, that's me. That's a meeting coming up. Dallas, Pecan Lodge. Have you ever heard of Pecan Lodge?
I haven't been there.
Holy buckets.
Was it good?
Oh, yeah. 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 It was.
I've been to Dallas. I've been
salivating right now, man.
I went to, Salt Lick right near Austin. It was really good.
Yeah, this is good barbecue. Pecan Lodge, overall, I rated it a 9.
Wow.
I know. It was good. The best brisket I think I've ever had.
Wow.
Just the right amount of smoke. The fat cap was just like, it just melted right into the meat. And then the rub.
Really good.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you and I are going to have to make a trip to.
Here you go.
Deep Ellum is the neighborhood in Dallas, Texas, to get some pecan.
So
Lodge.
I didn't get to do that. So we had the one here, the rib cook-off, and my daughters saw me making the ribs the night before and rubbing, and they were mad. Like,
they were mad that you didn't leave
pissed that that it was for work. They weren't going to get any. Oh. So I promised them if they did a bunch of chores over the 2 days. So there we go. I'll send that out.
Those are nice. Did you bring any of those here?
You
have 3 racks. You didn't finish 3 racks, did you?
No. I did that Saturday. We did have it for dinner again last night, but
nice.
You're going to be gone this week. I should have brought it in today.
Right. Well, I'll be gone. I leave for San Diego on Wednesday.
Oh, all right. I'll bring you some tomorrow.
And I think I come back Thursday. Talking to ISSA.
Okay.
In San Diego.
Yeah. I was just out there.
Yeah, you were. Absolutely.
It's gorgeous.
I should stop by and say hi to those guys too. All right. And then what else? Oh, okay. So then my wife stayed. So my flight originally was to come back on Friday.
Okay.
This is the story. This is the last part. Then we can talk about other security things. So I was supposed to leave. Flight was on Friday. My wife and daughter were staying. We figured we're having so much fun. Let's stay till Sunday.
Okay.
So they flew Southwest. You can change Southwest airline tickets without any fee.
Right.
I flew American. Not so
much.
Doesn't work the same way. So I'm like, well, son of a gun. And I don't want to spend so I look up, how much is it for another flight? It's
right.
Like the cheapest flight I could find was I don't remember what it was, $575, $600, something like that. And I was like, well, I don't want to pay that. I just don't.
Right.
And so, and so I canceled my flight with American, and then you got to pay the cancellation fee, whatever. So I got some money back on that. And then I thought, well, I'm going to drive home. Right. So I had points, with Enterprise. So it cost me $6.09 to rent a car in Dallas and drive back to Minnesota.
How long a drive is that?
It's about 14 hours. So I did that yesterday. So I left at 3 a.m. Dallas.
My gosh.
I got here, and actually it took me less. It took me probably 13 hours. And my wife and daughter flew from Dallas. Their flight left at 2 p.m. They got home at 6:05 p.m. So I left Dallas at 3 a.m. and I got to the airport in enough time to meet them at the baggage,
that's too funny.
claim. Right? So, yeah, it was, it was an interesting drive for sure. There's a lot of things you see on the road.
A lot of open field.
A lot of open field. So, yeah, so I came up through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That was my story. I don't know how many people actually do that.
Kind of nice to get some probably quiet time to reset and think. And
yeah, but I just kind of zone out. You know, it's 13 hours of just zoning time. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, so that was the Roadshow. It was a great week. I'm looking forward to San Diego this week. Oh, while I'm in San Diego, John Herman is at B-Sides somewhere in Virginia.
Oh, yeah, down like in Charlottesville or something.
Yeah.
UVA.
Yeah. So we'll be splitting the country again this week. And then I think next week is, I don't remember. I mean, we started off the podcast with we're just super busy.
Who knows?
We'll take next week when it gets here.
Well, and so I'm going to be just missing John because I'm flying into the DC area Saturday to speak Sunday and then flying back on Monday.
That's right.
I was excited. I was going to, it's where I'm from. And I was looking up tickets for the Nationals. They're in the World Series first time. And the standing room only tickets are like $650. I was like, well, nope.
Everything on the East Coast is super expensive. Both coasts.
Well, but I think it's because it's their first World Series and everybody's jacked up. But like the cheapest seat ticket was like $750. I was like, eh.
So who do you think is going to win the World Series?
I hope the Nationals.
Well, I didn't say hope. What do you think?
I really have no idea.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Nationals win too, but I do think it's going to be really hard to get past that pitching staff.
Both pitching staffs, though.
Yeah, I know, but
5 of the top 10 in strikeouts and 6 of the top 10 in ERA across both. I mean,
if I had money and I had to place the bet, I would place it on Houston, but I'd love to see the Nationals win.
Yeah, I mean, got to feel like, they've got nothing to lose at this point. Mm-hmm. They've already, won the play-in game. Mm-hmm. Knocked off the Dodgers, knocked off the Cardinals in 4.
Anybody who knocks off the Dodgers is a friend of mine.
Right. When they're playing with
the Yankees, but Houston beat the Yankees, so I love both teams right now.
Yeah, I think there's more pressure on Houston. So
I agree.
The Nationals are playing a little bit more. When you play with house money, you're free, you're a little looser, and hopefully it's good for them. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be able to catch both the games there, so Saturday, Sunday. So I'll make sure I go out and
nice.
At least try. And
what are you doing out there? Some stuff.
It's speaking at the Association of School Business Officials National Conference.
Oh,
so
nice.
It'll be a 2-hour, I think, breakout session.
2 hours, so it must be for CPEs.
I'm assuming.
It seems like that's the thing. I didn't really know that until I went out to talk to ISACA in Orange County. They're like, yeah, you talk from this time to this time. I'm like, well, that's like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, yeah, it's for CPEs. I'm like, can I talk for like an hour and you just give you credit for the second?
Yeah, no.
So I was like, okay, well.
See, I think we've
got to talk slower.
We've got so many CPEs, it's actually like not an issue, but it's a lot harder for people not in consulting and not teaching classes. And
it's true. So. Very true. All right. So you'll be in DC next week, big conference, good stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be in San Diego this week. John's in Virginia. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a big world, I guess. So tell me about this week. So this week we were talking about some incident response stuff. You're still working on that big incident response that we were talking about 2 months ago.
We finally got contained. We're pretty much calling it. We're not seeing any more indicators, which is good.
Right. Now you got some validation too.
Yeah.
From a big consulting company.
Yes.
That does a lot of incident responses, high profile ones.
Yep. Brought in by the insurance company to validate that they should pay it and that we were doing the right thing. And, and it was good that they basically came back and said, yeah, they're all over it.
They were impressed.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's always nice because, we talk about that imposter syndrome thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's lots of times where I feel like, man, I think I'm doing this right. I think I'm doing, even 27 years in, I'm like, am I as good as I don't know.
And as complex as that is.
And
and
somebody tells you it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very nice. It was good. I think some of the guys on the team were really like, holy cow. Like, I can't believe they said, I'm like, no, cool. I'm not surprised. I think you guys kicked butt.
Well, in this one consulting company we're talking about, the other one is, I've seen some of their incident response plans before and been totally unimpressed. Mm. So I guess it kind of depends. When you have a big consulting company, you really don't know which end of the spectrum you're dealing with. I would assume in an insurance one, you're dealing with a pretty high end in that spectrum. But, maybe at writing incident response plans, maybe you get like the college kid.
Yeah. The intern.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. And I think that's kind of the second validation we've gotten from insurance that we're on top of things. So, the guys were able to we have the other active one right now where they were able to actually pull some evidence and find the source of the RIAC infection and pull some logs and show when it started, and which is that's nice. Pretty cool stuff. So it's always good to validate it makes them feel good. We had 3 more potential incidents. Apparently we're waiting to hear
on whether they want to
move forward or not. It's like,
it's not cheap.
Hey, well, and it's like the longer you wait, the less likely, things are getting overwritten and logs are going away. It's like
the house is burning down. But the fire department costs money.
Yeah. And so now we're, well, it is what it is. We're here to help them if they want it. But
right. Well, that's good. Now you were telling me about a tool, and I've never used it before, that you and the team are using now and kind of getting familiar with, called Hive, right?
Yep.
Tell me about Hive.
So it's basically, it's an incident response management tool, right? Upload artifacts, upload evidence, does a lot of the reporting and management of, instead of using spreadsheets in OneNote or whatever you might be using, just a little bit more easier to use. It's got some add-ons and stuff around Cortex where you can upload different pieces, artifacts, right, and run against multiple sandboxes or known threat feeds and stuff like that. So just automates a lot of that manual process that we've been doing. So it's I've been impressed so far. We're going to be looking at some commercial tools as well. It's a free open source one, which is kind of double-edged sword because you have to manage it and maintain and updates and stuff. But it has a lot of functionality and can't beat the price.
Right. When I like open source things more because it forces me to learn it more. You know what I mean? Open source commercial, I mean, I know that there's cases to be made for both. So it's not one or the other necessarily, or one's better than the other. I prefer open source because it forces me to learn.
Right. Yeah. More. Yeah. I think it was good. I did the initial install and it reminded me how long it's been since I really got deep into Linux. I had to turn the sound off on the computer because I was like, ping, wrong. Oh, shoot. That's wrong. Wrong
command.
Yeah.
So the Hive, it's called.
Yeah, it's the Hive Project.
The Hive Project. Okay. And I'm sure if you're in incident response, many people probably already know what that is. I've never used it, so I'll be interested, to hear more about it.
Yeah,
in the future.
Let's see. Yeah, it was. It's pretty nice. It's all it's thehive-project.org. But yeah, it's got a lot of built-in things you can use to hit different analyzers, and if you wanted to share, you have the ability to share with others using the tool. So if you were to find something new.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crowdsourcing some of that analytics and stuff. So
nice,
but you don't have to. So
right.
Sensitive stuff, you don't share it.
Cool.
So it's been fun.
That's cool, man. All right. Okay, let's get into a news story. I only have one this week, and it was one that you actually just shared with me prior to starting the podcast.
Yeah, and I have two more after that. So
you have a couple.
I do.
Excellent.
I'm gonna surprise you. Uh-oh.
So this one is last week. Was it last week? When is it?
Yeah, 18th.
18th. Threat Post had a news article. Zappos offers users 10% discount in 2012 breach settlement. Lawyers will get $1.6 million in a settlement that stems from a breach that affected more than 24 million customers. So the lawyers get $1.6 million. You get a 10% discount.
Yeah. And if you do nothing, you lose out. You actually have to opt in to get your 10% discount. Otherwise, you don't get anything.
See that lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
I have to watch what I'm going to say. Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But does this not seem wrong to you?
Yeah. Hey, your stuff got stolen and we're going to give you off.
The people who actually suffered here, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know if you suffered or not, but 24 million customers suffered some form of loss. Otherwise, I would assume that there wouldn't be any liability.
Right.
Like this.
Right.
So you get 10% off. I can get 10% off with a coupon code.
Right. At the company that screwed up to begin with and caused me harm.
And the lawyers
they're going to benefit.
Million. And the lawyers get 1.6 million. And a judge approves this. And what's a judge? It's a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
I don't, anyway. Yeah. That kind of pisses me off because
it's so wrong.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's within minutes of a breach being announced before lawsuits are already being filed. So it's like a hurry up, first come, first serve.
Right.
File a class action, try to find somebody so that you can, I mean, it's just ambulance chasing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not helping.
No. And he said the people impacted get nothing. Like basically, if you spend money with the company that harmed you, we'll give you a little bit off.
If anything, this is like a sale for Zappos. I mean, they're probably going to have better,
that's so horrible.
Better revenue from something like this.
Seems wrong.
Yeah.
So the two I had real quick are both on Naked Security by Sophos. And you don't have it, but Sweet. Pixel 4's face unlock works with eyes closed. So if people are asleep or unconscious or deceased,
dead,
you can unlock their phone. So that's kind of an issue.
Especially at home. Like if you're doing something on your phone that you shouldn't be doing, your wife can just take your phone while you're sleeping and put it on your face.
Or even if you're not doing anything wrong, right? You have somebody who's snooping.
Mm-hmm.
It's a violation of your privacy.
That's true.
So that's a problem. So they're claiming they'll have a fix issued within months. They're saying, and don't use it until the fix is issued. So, and the other one, and I'll send these to you so you can post them. But the Samsung Galaxy S10 fingerprint reader beaten by a $3 gel protector. So
just mash your thumb into the gel protector and then put the gel protector onto.
So after fitting the screen, that gel protector, she could unlock it using any of her fingerprints, not just the one that was enrolled.
Interesting.
So,
and that's on Naked Security also?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I'll make sure I send you these so you can post it out. And Samsung admitted it was real and was going to release a software patch. So, and I think both of those really kind of go back to my ranting of biometrics are a great identifier, not so great authenticator.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's another one on Threat Post too about
the ocean wave.
Sorry about that. That was an ad. About voice phishing.
Yeah, I had that one up too.
Yeah, for Alexa and Google. We'll have to talk about that next week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up our show. So we talked a lot about the Security Studio Roadshow and talked a little bit about other things. Next week, it's a short roadshow this week, so I don't think we'll spend a ton of time talking about it. But we might have to force Brad to write his show notes.
I will. I will actually write some this week.
I'm giving you crap, man.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No promises.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, that wraps up another episode. That was episode 50. We only have 2 more episodes before we've been doing this for a full year.
It's crazy.
And it was about a year ago when I started growing this beard. Excuse me, my throat's something. All right. So thank you to our loyal listeners. Thank you always for your tips and feedback. We do, strive to make these shows kind of valuable. Even though we originally started this show just so I could spend an hour with Brad. We could spend an hour just talking about things, catching up, because we get so busy all the time. But send us your wisdom, questions, advice, whatever. Send it to our email, unsecurity@protonmail.com. If you are that social type, get Brad on Twitter @BradNye. Get me @EvanFrancine. Also follow Security Studio @Security Studio and the S2 Roadshow, whatever.
And FRSecure is @FRSecure.
Boom. That's right. Oh, yeah, because FRSecure is now doing a lot more social media things. Absolutely. FRSecure. That one's easy to spell, too.
Yes.
Like your name's not easy to spell, Brad Nye. I mean, it is, but you could
there's
spell
a lot of
different. It's NIGH.
Right.
Not NIE.
NYE.
Yeah. And then mine is Evan Francine, which is probably hard to spell, too. It's EVAN and FRANCEN. Anyway, that's that. Anything else, Brad?
No.
All right. Talk to you next week.
All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the UNSECURITY Podcast. We value our listeners and would love to hear from you. Give us your feedback by emailing us at unsecurity@protonmail.com. That's UNSECURITY@protonmail.com. Be sure to tune in next week to hear the latest insights from Brad and Evan.